G'day, it's Phil here, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking through 50-cent pieces again, looking for commemorative coins, rare coins, and coins worth more than face value. Again, we've got my 50-cent collection book here, already partly filled with the commemorative coins that we've found so far. We only have a few left to go. The 91 25th anniversary of decimal currency, the Ram's Head. Then we've got a couple of centenary federations, the Australian Capital Territory on that first page. We've got the Northern Territory and the Victoria, which is unusual because Victoria is usually one that I can find quite easily here in Melbourne, Australia. And then we also have the International Year of Indigenous Languages from 2019. And then we've got at the back, we've got my date run, which is run through all of the years, including the commemoratives. We've got that pretty much filled up now. When I fully complete the book, what I'll do is I'll change all these commemoratives that we've found into this book, and this will be a complete 50-cent collection folder, all done. And I think, if I can remember, no, we don't have any other extra little bits and pieces there, but I have a little bit of a treat for you. So I'll put the book aside because we'll come back to it at the end if we find anything. A little bit of a treat. A lot of you have asked in relation to cuts on the enders of some of these rolls, and I've told you before about why that is, but I couldn't get to an ATM this week that was working, so I had to go into a branch, and the branch gave me a pack in the same format that they get delivered to them from Prosegur. And this is how it comes. It comes in a pack of 10 coins, shrunk, wrapped in this hard sort of plastic. It's not completely hard, but it's pretty hard. And the reason that we get the scores on the end, as I've said before, is they take their knife and then they just cut straight across this plastic so they can get them out. Now, you don't need to do that, obviously. Oh, look, there's an ender. There's a tall ships. But if you get your knife and you just cut straight across with great force, that's how you get all the scores on these enders. But obviously, that's a big pack, and it's not necessarily that hard to take the knife and cut in between the coins to loosen it up. In between the coins to loosen it up without worrying the coins so much. And I'm going to do that now, and you'll see I can get these coins out without having to resort to a massive score across every single one of these. And if you take a bit of time, I mean, it's not, as I say, it's not sheep stations. I'm not saving myself more than seconds at a time to get these coins out of these plastic shrink wraps. But sometimes I think some of the bank staff just take a little bit of extra time just to get that out of the way, and there you have it. And you've got multiple coins, multiple rolls without big scores across it, without really doing it any damage. So let's get into the coins. We'll do a couple of rolls, maybe 3 before we get into it. As we go through, I'll just mainly be looking at the reverses, just looking for the common commemoratives. Here is the first coin, and that is the standard 50-cent piece, the coat of arms. And I'll put them aside, and I'll be looking at all of those at the end for years of low mintage, or years where there was no 50-cent piece in circulation, which is 1986, 87, 89, 1990, 92, 2005, and I'll also be looking for low mintage years, 1985 and 1993, and 2020. This is our first common commemorative. It's a 2005. This is the secondary students competition winner for a 50-cent piece design, and it was designed for the Melbourne 2006 Commonwealth Games. And I do look for other coins as well. You'll see as we go through, if we see any in the first 3 rolls. This is a Year of the Family in 1994, another common commemorative. It'll go up the top row. I'll look when I see coins and the dates of 2010, 14. In 2010, I'll look for rotation. Sometimes you can find a rotation in the 2006. They are very hard, and they are a full 180-degree rotation, but they are very hard to find. There's a 1995, so that'll be the 50th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, from 1995 with Weary Dunlop on it. The Weary Dunlop coin, it's a common commemorative. And then we have the marriage coin, the marriage of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer from 1981. another common commemorative, another year, International Year of the Family. And then we have 2010 Celebrate What's Great, Australia's Day. Celebrating Australia Day as well. And that's our first full roll. Get into the second one. So your 2010, I look for a rotation error. 2014, there's a crop circle error. 2012, there's a bubble error. 2000 itself, the millennium year, you can find an incused variety of the flag. There's a 2001, it's the centenary of Federation, but it's the 1912 coat of arms. It's the most highly minted of that series. We look for the other states and territories in the 2001 centenary of Federation series. And there is the 2003 Australia's Volunteers, celebrating Australia's volunteers of all shapes and sizes. And we look for some other varieties on some of the commemoratives. The tall ships, we'll look for the 1988 dot. Here is a very clean 2005 60th anniversary of the end of World War II, the Remembrance coin. This coin has a number of errors on it. You can get errors all across the coin, and down here by the robe, on the helmet, over here on this soldier, on the cross. Quite a substantial amount, even on the obverse side there. Lots of die chips for some reason or other. The particular year, the dies weren't so great, and there are a lot of errors on that one. They're not particularly rare. You can find them relatively easy. Maybe not worth more than face value, but certainly if you're a collector and you want to get a range of those kinds of things, errors and so forth, you can pull them out. At least get one of every kind. It's only going to cost you 50 cents. There's another International Year of the Family. In the International Year of the Family, we can get a wide date variety, and that's even in the book. The 19 and the 94. I think this might actually be a wide date. You notice that the 94 on the 1994 is a slightly bigger font than the others, and that's the slight variety that we get on the International Year of the Family. I don't keep every single variety. Once I've got a really good condition copy of a particular variety, that's pretty much how I keep it. Might keep one or two, and that's about it. The rest I'll show you or get an idea of what it is, but then it goes back to the bank for other people to collect. Also have the 1979 and 1980 double bar variety. Here is a 2010, and we checked that for a rotation error. If it was a rotation error, the Queen would be looking slightly down to the right, but in this instance, it is fine. So that is our third roll. So now let's speed things up a little bit as I move the knife out of the way. Don't cut myself. Let's speed things up a bit. Lost control of it on the side, out of shot. Here we go. Let's speed things up, and if I find anything new, I'll come back to you and we'll go through it. Oh, look at that. We have inside the roll, we have what looks to be a round coin. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a round 50-cent piece because I can see that it's an interrupted reading. You can see that, so it's most likely going to be New Zealand, but it could be something else as well. Yes, it's a New Zealand 1967 Endeavour 50-cent coin. We see some of that now and again. This is quite green. I'm going to put that to the side. It's not very nice. It's going to go back to the bank if I can get it back to the bank. Oh, and the other coin that was in this particular roll, if I can take control, was this tall ships. So 1988 tall ships, Australia's bicentenary celebration, and the variety that we look for is there on the 1988. If it has a variety between the two eights, there's a dot at the bottom. This is not one of those, so it's just a standard one, but it is a commemorative. It's one that I keep in my collection usually when I find it, so I'll put it with the common commemoratives because it is technically a common commemorative, but I will pull it out at the end of the hunt and put it with the rest of my collection because I do like to collect that. And there, for the first time today, we're seeing the 1982 Commonwealth Games Brisbane in very, very poor nick. There's lots and lots of those. We see lots of those around. Oh, there we go. We have an Eddie Mabo. So this is the 2017 Eddie Mabo coin in relation to the referendum, the 1967 referendum, and the 25 years from the Mabo decision in 1992 in relation to Aboriginal land rights. So that is definitely a keeper. That is 1.4 million mintage of those. We see them now and again. Sometimes they're quite hard to find. They seem to be a bit more around in some other parts of Australia. Generally, that's how they get released, when they get saturated, sometimes in some other parts of Australia. Here is the 1977 Silver Jubilee coin, 25th anniversary of the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Oh, here we go. We have a 2001 Centenary of Federation, and it is Western Australia. It's not a bad coin. The one that we don't need for the book, though, looking for the Victoria, Northern Territory, and ACT. But very, very nice. Definitely a keeper. Low mintage. The Western Australia is 2.4 million. So definitely a low minted keeper for the collection. And there, for the first time today, we see the 1998 Bass and Flinders. Not in great nick, but it is a highly minted commemorative. So we'll go on the common commemorative row. Then we have another tall ships. Get a shot at looking for the dot between the eights. No, so it's a standard one. Very nice. And that then brings us on to our last roll. We see our first coin from the year 2000 with an IRB effigy, so it'll be the Millennium Year coin. And we check that one for an incused flag variety with a cross in the center of that Union flag there is infused into the coin rather than outlined, but it's a standard one, so it goes down on the table. We have another Australia's Volunteers. Not necessarily a bad home. We've got a couple of keepers there. That's always a good thing to come out of a hunt with at least 1 or 2 keepers. We will also pull out the tall ships and put that with the collection, which will be great. We've got a couple of sort of oddities off to the side. We've got the round New Zealand 50-cent piece, which I'm wondering how it got into the rolls, as well as another little oddity that I'll pick out in a second, because that is the hunt. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gone through all of the rolls. I've got a couple of keepers down here, but I'll quickly go through all the coat of arms to the side, and I'll be back in a sec to tell you if I found anything else of any note. Well, unfortunately, nothing of any note amongst the other coat of arms. So the 2 coins that we have found today as keepers is the Eddie Mabo 2017, and we have a Centenary of Federation Western Australia from 2001. 2 very nice coins that will go into my wider collection. And we have a couple of oddities, I suppose. We picked up the around 50 cent New Zealand coin from 1967. Almost had me as a round 50-cent piece, but I saw the interrupted milling there very early, so I knew it wasn't a silver round 50-cent piece. So that is also a nice coin to pick up, although that is so green it's going back into the bank if I can possibly get it through there. And then we got just a little bit of an oddity. We've got an N pen marked onto a 2015 coat of arms, and so that'll just stick in as an oddity. And I'm also going to pull out these 2 tall ships because I like the tall ships, and they're going to go into my wider collection. So that's what we've got going into the wider collection today. All these rest of these common commemoratives, and there's not really that many of them in comparison to previous hunts. They're all going back to the bank with the rest so that I can get more coins to noodle. If you enjoy what I do, please think about subscribing. Give me the thumbs up. Leave a comment about what you're finding in your area. Are you finding any older coins that people are now trying to make money out of? But I will be back in a few days for more noodling, so I will see you then. Thanks for that. Bye.